Hello and welcome to the Gear Shift Chat.
I'm Connor.
And I'm Shaun.
Welcome back.
Well, welcome for the first time.
Welcome for the first time, exactly. It's weird.
It is weird.
I'm not used to being on a podcast.
I know, first podcast.
Yes.
So let's get going. So Connor, where did we start?
Like, in what terms? Like, how did we become friends? Or just, like, how did we start making videos?
Well, what is the Gear Shift Chat?
Well, the Gear Shift Chat is basically a podcast which we give insightful information about what happened during the shoots of past videos and future videos coming up.
Exactly. So it's a bit like a extended edit, the director's cut, if you want to have it in a sense of that sense.
Get to know the ins and outs, behind the scenes.
Yeah. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a weekly upload on a Friday. So every Friday at 4 p.m. we'll have a new video of a car. And we will also be doing some other interesting bits and bobs. So keep an eye out for that there. But what is our first car, Connor?
Well, the first one is a C4 Corvette.
Oh, C4 Corvette. What year is it?
92?
1992, exactly. It's a 5.7 litre naturally aspirated American V8.
Lovely. It is a lovely car. It's your dad's car.
It is actually my dad's car. It's nearly in a British racing green.
Yeah.
Now, you're looking at about just over 300 brake horsepower from 1990s, which is quite impressive when you think of it, right?
It does shift.
It does really shift. But we will be releasing the video on Friday. So if you're watching this here, keep an eye out for Friday, the 1st of March 2024 at 4 p.m. British time, of course. And, well, tell me what happened in that video, Connor.
Well, when we first got there, I met you. Your dad was actually cleaning the car. Went fine. Set up some cameras. I can remember a couple of things. We got we put a suction mount to the back of a car, onto
in the back window, and it would not stick.
It would not stick.
It just kept coming off.
It kept it did stick at one point, but then the camera just kept on tilting down, and we just lost the shot entirely. And you were hanging out the window of your brother's Jaguar S-Type R.
Supercharged Jag, and we were trying to do chasing shots, or like driving. We were driving ahead, and then we had this new gimbal we just bought, and trying to do the shot. And the gimbal was like, nope, we're not doing this. And the gimbal kept trying to like move left and right because the car wasn't going perfectly straight. So the gimbal was trying to correct and try to keep it locked on a focus. You know what I mean? But we got some shots, some of the best shots, not really, but there were still shots we could use.
Yeah. What else happened?
Well,
for that,
with that there as well, it was actually our first car video we ever filmed. Before, what we were actually doing gym videos. Yeah. Now they were great. We were gym influencers. Yeah, we went to the gym with all the equipment, and we happened to go to the gym, but every time we went to McDonald's as well. So every single video,
we don't mention that.
Yeah, exactly. But it was quite funny if you think we were just taking it, just having a bit of fun. There was nothing crazy, nothing serious about it. We weren't being any dramatic in any way.
It was a bit of fun, and it was just kind of getting us both interested into the YouTube lifestyle, I guess you would say. Just like
the
of uploading, and uploading consistently and things like that, and that helped.
Yeah, and the channel was going pretty well actually. We had a couple hundred subscribers and a couple hundred
one
viewers.
video I think has like 20k on it, or 21k.
Yeah, we did Mr. Beast. First video. No, I wish it was the first video. It was like the 15th or 18th video.
Something like that. Made no sense because that video hadn't been released. We hadn't made a video for like 6 months.
I know.
And then we released that, and then it popped off, and then every video after that has just got like 300 views.
And like in that video, we did go and do some crazy stuff. We bought like every single Starbucks drink we could.
Yeah.
In the local area.
That was fun.
That was fun. But so we actually got into the car scene. Well, I got into the car scene quite a while back. I've got a small little collection of cars. You'll see them as the videos go on and progress. And obviously, Connor's quite a young individual. He's only 17 now, so he's busy getting his license at the minute. So sooner he gets it, the better. Sooner he can get involved in the cars and pay an exorbitant insurance, which is
can't wait for that lifestyle. Brilliant.
Welcome to the life of being broke. Cars will bankrupt.
They really will.
I actually want to see a statistic on how many cars have like bankrupted people. How many people have gone bankrupt because of car insurance, because of the cost of having a car. I would say it'd be quite
Fiesta
high.
Owners.
I mean, Jamie, would you bring it up on the screen, please? But I think personally, I'm quite happy with having started the YouTube channel with Connor and doing the car videos.
Yeah.
We've actually had a previous channel, so you may have possibly actually seen some of our videos. They were actually coming off the previous channel, and they
Just
may be
re-uploading,
re-uploaded. So if you have seen the videos, fantastic. Drop us a comment, say what video you've seen, and for anyone else, have a look, watch the videos.
Yeah, that's it.
But so now let's get back to what actually happened on the Corvette video.
On the Corvette,
Because it was quite an interesting one. It was first of all, first time ever filming a car. We had very little clue on different angles. We had so much extra footage. Like how many gigabytes of footage was?
I think it was about 100 gigabytes, and for comparison, a normal one's about 40 gigabytes. This was over 100 gigabytes.
Which like nearly three times as much, maybe nearly 4 times as much footage as we normally would do these days. But we had incredible amounts of footage, loads of things. We could probably have like an 8-hour director's cut if we really wanted to put that together.
Well, luckily you're not the one editing that.
Yeah, well, Connor's doing the editing, and I just say, "Oh, that looks good."
You just let me have my way.
But I think let's get back to what actually happened.
So after we went to the car park and then did the interview went completely fine. All the questions went fine. Your dad was a good sport. He helped. We had your brother there who helped with questions. All went well. Then we went to go fire it up again, and what happened? Would not work.
No, would not stop.
And we were like, how's this happened? Because your dad sort of freshened up the engine.
Yeah, so my dad bought the car. I think it was maybe about 7 or 8 years ago, back in 2016, 2017.
Yep.
And the fellow who had the car before, he kept having gearbox issues. So the gearbox just keep giving him trouble. He'd sent the gearbox in the car to a guy in Northern Ireland who was supposedly the expert. He'd rebuilt the gearbox, I think it was twice, and just kept giving the same issue. Just kept burning the clutches in the gearbox. Now, my dad, he used to work in America, and we used to race cars. We used to build gearboxes all the time. So he completely dismantled the gearbox, dropped the gearbox out of the car, rebuilt the gearbox, new clutches, new everything. And since that day, never given a single bit of bother. Then about just after COVID hit, he had a bit of an issue with the engine. It blew a head gasket, actually. Just from the age or whatever it was, the car hadn't been driving much, etc.
It's pretty high mileage, isn't it?
About 130, I think it is. I'm not too sure. But
high enough, but like...
Yeah, it's high, but it's also a V8, so you got less load and it's not very high compression. But he had the head gasket blow on him. So what he did was he actually completely dismantled the engine, re-honed it, took the pistons out, new sleeves, new whatever the car needed. So it had everything it needed. He put new sensors, etc. into it. So all really, really, really good stuff, and cars running beautifully, no issues at all. Started every time. Probably one of the most reliable cars we had.
So yeah.
Do you know what actually happened?
I do.
Go for it.
It was the immobilizer, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
You said it just wasn't one to start.
At the time, we thought it was an immobilizer, right? Because the key has a small little chip in it.
Yeah.
And whenever the key goes into the ignition, it should recognize the chip. So we thought, okay, well, maybe the immobilizer isn't working, or the battery, or there's a bad connection. Because whenever you crank it, it still cranks, but it's just not giving any spark.
Yeah.
Right? So actually, after this year, after the whole video, over the last few weeks and months, we've actually had a look at it. And it's not the immobilizer. The immobilizer is working fine.
Okay, good.
There is spark, right, on the spark plugs. The spark plugs are working. Everything's working fine. It's actually a sensor. It's called Opticom, I think it's called.
Where?
Basically, it goes on the distributor on the engine, right? Mm-hmm. And what happens is whenever the crank is spinning, or the camshaft, it basically registers the position and tells it when to spark. But now, my dad was saying that when he was driving it that day, it over-revved, and he thinks what he's done is he's spun the shaft off the Opticom.
Oh.
Or melted it, or whatever there. So that's actually what I think the issue is. The issue is he's actually messed up a sensor. So he's replaced the 2 or 3 other sensors that possibly could be, and the Opticom is the last thing to be replaced.
Yeah.
So
is the Opticom hard to replace?
Yeah, it's kind of difficult. You've got to kind of have the car on the left. You've got to get some
Is it basically a
dismantled.
whole engine out type job?
I don't think so. I think you can just kind of do it without having to take the whole engine out, but there is a decent bit of work to get to it. So that's what needs to be done there. But sure, that's what it is.
Yeah, and To be fair, it runs pretty well. But as well, your dad was driving that thing pretty hard.
He was definitely giving a good push in for us.
Yeah.
He was.
I really appreciated that. He did a couple of burnouts, things like that.
Yeah, it was like, and the nice thing was all on private roads as well, so we could have a bit of fun without having to worry about anything.
Exactly, that was the benefits with doing that.
So, but no, it's a great car, and I love it. It's panoramic roof. It's got the full glass all around. Yeah. It can be a bit weird when you're driving down the road. Especially when I get pick me up from school and I get into the driver's seat because it's left-hand drive. Yeah. Get into the passenger seat, it looks like you're driving around. Yeah. So, you're driving around and everyone's like, oh, looks like a young kid's driving that car, but it was actually, my dad was driving on the left-hand side.
No, it's very interesting about that, but one thing just about that car, completely different. Yeah. I know a lot of people have spoken about this, but there's no legroom in it.
Yeah, no legroom. The engine sits really, really far back. I think literally just the serpent belt, or the auxiliary belt, is just in front of the front wheels. Oh, okay. So it's almost mid-engine front engine. Yeah. It's obviously rear-wheel drive, but mid-engine nearly. Yeah. Because the engine sits so far back. Mm-hmm. And because the engine sits so far back, the gearbox sits so far back. I know. So the bell housing of the gearbox actually takes up a decent bit of your legroom space. Yep. Now, funny thing is, my brother's got a Camaro, and it's the exact same. No legroom. you literally sit as if, like, imagine you're sitting in a car and you have a box sitting by the center console. Yep. Yeah, it's like that. Basically that, but just slightly smaller because it's obviously a sports car.
And as well, you're off center. Your legs are off.
You don't sit straight. You sit slightly angled out. Yep. And I think the drivers as well. The driver's steering wheel I think it was the right-hand drive version of that car.
Oh, they did make right-hand drives.
I think they did. Yeah, it was either that car or a different car, but the steering wheel wasn't centered. It was slightly offset.
Yeah, but there's a couple of cars back from that time that they complain about. Yeah. Like the Lamborghini Countach had some
Countach
same
is very similar, yeah. But no, actually a very interesting thing with that car there is just before the whole filming session, we actually took it for MIT and they failed it. Right? Do you know what they failed it on?
Rust.
No, it's no rust in that car. The steering column, right? So you have the car. Yep. It looks nearly like an indicator. Yeah. There's a button, a lever you pull, and the steering column actually lifts up out of your space, so you can get out the car easily. And the fella who took it there, it's all done by springs, so it's held by spring. So that actually the steering column actually has a bit of like a flex in it. Yeah. And the guy took the car, and when he did it, he said, "Oh, the steering column needs to be replaced because it's got flex in it." But like we had to actually write a letter to the MOT department, from a business that had gone and inspected the car to make sure that there wasn't any issues. It was all good. Took photos and everything. Took it up there, and I had to go and explain to them, look, this is how it works. Physically demonstrate how the steering column like moves up and away so the driver can get in and out. Mm-hmm. And you can actually see it if it's not latched in correctly, it will have play. Yeah. But the minute it latches in, it's nice and tight. Yep. Now, I know it is a common issue with those cars because there's a lot of wear because everyone's always lifting up to get in and out. Yeah. But on that car there, it perfectly latches and it's proper strong. But the guy hadn't listened to what my dad had said when he took it to the MOT, and he hadn't actually latched it into position. So, of course, it was floppy. But, it was a whole rigmarole, and we had to take it and book another MOT and speak to the manager and physically explain it and show him demonstration of how it actually works and how it doesn't work. Yep. And show him a video of, like, actually from the factory. And like the actual handbook and everything, for them to go, okay, well that's fair enough. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, right. So it was quite hard to get it past. Yeah.
No, it was just trying to get them to understand. But it was nothing wrong with the car. Yeah, perfectly fine. But if anyone has a C4 Corvette, they'll know that issue. The steering column can be floppy because the spring wears up.
Yeah, but anyway, getting back to the day of filming. So we eventually got it started again.
When it cooled down, yeah.
We let it cool down. We drove it all the way up to just up the roads. Then we took it to a petrol station just to get some fuel. Yep. And what did you tell your dad not to do?
I told him not to turn it off, leave the car running and fill it up. Yeah. Right? Because if there was any bother or any issues, it's easier to drive the car home and have a problem at home than in the middle of a busy petrol station, which, to be fair, that's probably the busiest petrol station in the town. Yeah, it is. And he parked in the centre of the petrol station, blocking everyone.
And what did he do? He turned it off, and me and him had to push it all the way out of the way so people could get past.
Now it's also automatic, so it's not like a manual car where you put it into neutral gear and push it. It's kind of awkwardly hard to push.
Yeah.
But my brother and I weren't there at that time.
You made it there like 15 minutes after it happened.
Yeah, because I think the plan was my dad was dropping you home.
Yes. Or something like that.
Oh, yeah, no, my dad was going to drop you home or something, but he needed petrol first.
Yeah.
And my brother and I were going off elsewhere to get some other stuff done.
Yeah.
And then he obviously went to go petrol and then had a problem, so we had to come all the way back. Not like it was far, but, you know. And then it started, actually.
Yeah, it did.
It did.
We got it working.
It was so weird because it was like intermittent issue all of a sudden. It had like, never given that issue before. It was just, all of a sudden, now it's given this issue. And, for a couple of weeks after that, it was working fine.
Okay.
And then one day again, it was just, no, it's not working now. Whatever it was.
Yeah.
But he actually is having another slight issue with the car. It's the dashboard. It's obviously all digital from the 90s. And I'm not sure if it's related or whatever it is. But it's like the screen's going weird. It's like has a glitch in the matrix where it's all of a sudden going 150 miles an hour when it's static.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to like 0. Or like the fuel gauge is going from full to 0 to full to medium.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yes, it's exactly, it's like a bad connection.
Yeah.
So we'll have to work through it and see if we get that bad connection sorted. But it all could be the same problem. It could just be a bad earth. That could be causing all the issues. Because it's just all of a sudden. And since that day. So I reckon it's probably something simple.
And the funny thing is, when we had it over at the side of the road, there was about 5 cars that drove past and asked, "Do you want help?" And it was very nice. They all offered, but we were like, "No, we're all good."
But that's weird.
Yeah,
but it's pretty cool.
No, it was a good day, but obviously I couldn't keep any of that information into the cut. That never made it.
It's just too much footage.
It would have been like a half an hour.
Because as it is, it was a 7 and a bit minute video.
7 and a bit. The thing is, I cut down a lot of the questions. I wish I kept in, looking back on it, because I tried to keep it as low as I could, but then I realized later it's actually you should have your videos over 8 minutes and 1 second.
Yeah, because you can get
2 ad rolls in it.
Yeah, 2 ad rolls. Not like that affects us right now. That's future us problems.
Yeah, true.
But I think it was definitely a great video, and I appreciate my dad bringing it up. Maybe what we'll be doing is, at some point whenever it's getting sorted, we will maybe do a video of it getting fixed.
Yep.
So we can have that and have it back on the road. And
we'll have to say, because obviously we're both quite busy, but
maybe we'll do a part 2 on that.
Yeah, we'll have to.
If you guys are interested in seeing a part 2, drop a comment and like and subscribe.
Brilliant. Yeah.
That's it. But now, what do you think of Corvettes in general? Because I know we said what we were going to have a bit of a conversation about Corvettes as well.
Yeah. I quite like them. I really like the newer one. You don't. I love it. It's so nice. It's nice and luxurious. It's like a cheap man's Ferrari. The thing is, it's the same price now as a GTR. It's the same price.
Well, do you know my favourite Corvette? I know you like the really new ones.
Yeah.
I love the C6 because you had C6 ZR1, which is obviously was a 6.2 litre supercharged V8, like insane power.
Yes.
Like people, 1,000 horsepower straight out of the block. Super powerful cars. It's nearly like, it just reminds me nearly like a Viper. It looks kind of similar as well.
Well, you like it because it's front engined, because then they've now moved it back to mid engine.
But also like in the fact, if you actually look at a C6 ZR1, it's actually got a cutout in the bonnet with a glass piece. It looks like glass, so you can actually see the supercharger or see the engine.
Oh really? That's cool.
Pretty good, pretty awesome.
Nice.
Actually, now I'm thinking about it, I don't even know if they are supercharged naturally. They might just be. I think they're actually naturally aspirated.
So you're telling a lie?
The ZR1. But I know a lot of people supercharge it. No, I think it is actually naturally aspirated. ZR1, C6 ZR1, but a lot of people supercharge or turbocharge them.
Have they made any Corvettes with a forced induction of any kind?
I don't know, but I know that there was in my dad's generation. There was, I think, it was a V10, red V10 they made. They only made a singular one, and it was actually to compete with, I think it was Ferrari and Lamborghini at the time.
A V10. Ooh.
Yeah, it was either V10 or V12. God. I think it was out of actually a boat V10 or V12 or something like that. Yeah.
Jesus Christ!
It was incredible. I think it had like 700 something horsepower naturally aspirated, like 10 liters or something. It was like a competition for the Viper and the Dodge. Dodge Viper and the Corvette Camaro. No, what am I saying? It was a competition for the Dodge Viper, the Lamborghini and Ferraris of the day. but it was just deemed too powerful or whatever it was. But look it up, V10 or V12 C4 Corvette. Only ever made one. It was out of a boat, I think it was.
That's very interesting. I didn't know that.
I think it might have been turbocharged as well. Something like that.
What horse is it pushing?
I think it was like 700 and something horsepower. I'll check.
Jamie, pull that up.
Yeah, I'll pull it up on my phone.
Cheers, Jamie.
This is Jamie now.
Cheers, Jamie.
C4 V. I'm definitely not. I think it was a V12. Yep, the V12.
V12.
V12 Falconer, C4 supercar built by GM, but it was never put into production. Only one example. It was called the ZR12. That's what it was.
Wow, very original name.
Let's see here. 10-litre engine, 686 horsepower, 680 foot-pounds, 921 newton meters of torque. V12 out of a boat. Yeah, 10 litres. Incredibly fast car. Here, you can actually watch a video on it by Rockstar Rides.
Here, show that to the microphone. It's starting up. Put the microphone next to it. That's a nice sounding engine.
Very nice sounding engine. Now, this is the pre-facelift version of my dad's car.
Yeah.
So you can see it's got the old digital
It's a manual gearbox, yeah. Manual gearbox.
It's a manual gearbox. That's unusual for American cars.
No, well, funny enough, all the ones I've seen on YouTube of C4 Corvettes, they're most of them are manuals.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I didn't realise you got that many manuals. Because I know in America a lot of the cars are all automatic because a lot of people don't know how to drive stick, is what they call it, stick shift. But I think it was the Vipers came in manuals.
Yeah, did it?
Vipers came in manuals on a lot of crazy cars.
Yeah, that's a proper driver's car.
Yeah,
Right,
those Vipers are a dangerous car.
Yeah.
Nearly one of the most dangerous cars.
It is the
like
most dangerous car in the world. Like, the reason that they're so rare and expensive now is because everyone crashes them.
That's it.
Same thing with a Ford Escort Cosworth and a Lotus Carlton. They're rare because people crash them.
Is it R44, the Lotus Carlton? The one that outran the
Yes.
and crazy cars.
Brilliant story that.
No, I think I personally quite like Corvettes. My dad had Corvettes before, and I've always kind of been around American cars, even in South Africa when we used to do drag racing, etc. So for me, I love Corvettes, and my dad loves Corvettes, and always just kind of been like American V8 kind of guy. But I own a couple other V8s, Germans these days, but.
And funny enough,
you can't beat a Mercedes V8 in my opinion these days.
Funny enough, your V8 is the most reliable V8 of all of them.
Yeah, German. But it's also the most complicated V8. It has 16 spark plugs.
Jesus.
2 spark plugs per cylinder. It's got each cylinder's got a coil pack. Right?
Yep.
So if one goes, you can obviously replace it easy enough. But 220,000 miles, never given me a single issue. The only issue it ever had was a sensor that had given in.
Isn't it the highest mileage V8 out of your family?
Yeah, I know what we have is highest mileage. Yeah.
You own the highest mileage one, yeah.
But no issues. And I've had one with a lot less mileage as well. Started every single time, never gave me any issues, just besides obviously the rust.
Was that the AMG one you had?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sure, it sounded nice though.
It was good. I liked it. Because what was it, straight pipes or?
Yeah, it was straight pipe at the time. Not by me. The previous owner was a mechanic. Now that should send shivers down your spine. And he used water piping to make an exhaust. But he was galvanized water piping. So if anyone who knows like welding,
yeah, it
was 4 mil thick water pipe. So incredibly heavy. Galvanized so you couldn't actually weld it. So it literally looked like I don't even know how to describe it. Like splatter. The weld was splatter. So it had so many leaks on the welds that when I covered the exhaust at the right of the back, it made no difference. It was that holy. And besides the bodywork as well, the car was really in not the best condition. But it was my first V8 I bought. And I think I paid £400 for a CLK. Incredible.
Impressive.
Man, cars have got expensive. So I've obviously been talking about like V8 cars, and I was spoken about what I have. Now, I know you don't have a car currently, right? You're obviously too young. You're obviously going to get a car soon.
Yep.
What do you think is like the best number of cylinders you could have in a car?
Now, that is hard to say because I love any car with any amount of cylinders. The only thing I'll say is I'm not the biggest fan of Porsches because they don't create they only like do boxer
engines.
six cylinders.
I think the Porsche 944 you had it for a 2-litre version, was it? I'm not too sure. I'm not a huge,
but they're always like six cylinders. But then the front engines they came with V8s. Now they were good back in the day, really old. But like nowadays they don't create a lot of like V8s or anything. They just do like 2 litres, 3 litres, 4 litres, like and 4.4 litres, something like that. A lot of them have like just 6-cylinder boxer engines.
But like, so you would say 6 cylinders is the best number of cylinders?
I would say yes and no. The reason I'm bringing that up is I like a company that creates a lot of cylinders. So
a lot of variation.
Yeah. If I'm going personally, if I were to daily drive a car, it would be a V6, not a boxer 6. And the best amount of cylinders for a car would be a V8, I'll be honest.
So you think a V8's best, but if you had to drive daily, you'd have a V6?
Yes.
Okay.
Just for the extra fuel consumption.
You obviously like the V6s and you like V8s. Now, you've not spoken about 4-cylinder engines. Now, majority of cars these days are 4 cylinders. You've got the A45 AMG, you've got Corsas, you've got whatever you have, and a lot of them are 4 cylinders.
Yeah.
Do you think cars like the Lotus Elise with a 2-litre 4-cylinder engine, naturally aspirated, is sporty, or do you think that was a bad choice?
I would say it's sporty, but I wouldn't count it anywhere near like a supercar or anything. It's a sports car at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Any Lotus.
But do you think a 4-cylinder sounds like a sports car? It's like to me, it sounds like a hatchback. It doesn't sound like a car that should have a 4-cylinder engine.
It does. Yeah, like a hatchback. If it was a turbocharged 4-cylinder, it still sounds like a hatchback to me.
But a turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol is a lot more performance than a naturally aspirated one. So but I think that's been a pretty good conversation, and I quite like my engines. I like all variations. I think every single engine type has its place.
What sort of engine do you like? Are you?
Well, personally, I have a 4-cylinder, a 6-cylinder, an 8-cylinder, and a 2-cylinder. So that's a cheeky one. Tell me what cars had 2 cylinders.
Yeah.
Well, it's not actually technically 2 cylinders. It's more like 2 rotors. Without giving it away too much. We got 2 rotor, 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, and 8-cylinder. So I'm in the market for 12, 10, 16 at some point in time. But
when the accountant says you can.
Yeah, mummy, please. Am I allowed now?
No. All right. I'm going to compose myself, mate. Holy balls.
My mum's the accountant in the family.
So are you, to be fair.
She's qualified.
Yeah.
I'm experienced. But no, I think it's a hard thing to say because V8s are just so great in every aspect except for fuel consumption.
Yeah.
V6s sound cool, but they don't have the power of a V8. And 4-cylinders just economic.
Yeah.
The minute you start going turbos or superchargers, it's obviously a different conversation. But I personally daily drive either a V6 or V8. That's what I daily drive.
You, at a point, you dailied the inline 4.
Yeah, I did.
That didn't last long.
A week.
Yeah, it didn't last long.
I mean,
it kept on having issues.
Yeah, it had a couple issues. Some minor, mostly major issues. But
mostly major.
Mostly major issues.
Yeah, you had to put every time you came over to my house.
Yeah.
You would always have the bonnet open and just refill on the oil.
I'm honestly surprised America never invaded my house because my house was oil central.
Yeah.
A gallon of oil to do 10 miles, that's how bad it was.
There was always at least 2 cans of oil in that car.
It was a portable smoke machine.
It was.
I remember we were coming home from the gym one night and we're having a bit of fun driving, having a good bit of driving, and we stopped and there was just magically a cloud near us.
Yeah.
It was like we brought the mist.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
And it wasn't foggy that night. It was actually a very clear night.
It was. We could see the stars until we stopped.
Yeah.
Then we were in a mist of, a Corsa.
And a lot of coughs.
I mean, the other guy appreciated it. He stopped. He was like, "Oh, what car is that?" Remember?
Yeah. I do.
So we'll be releasing a podcast every single Wednesday. That's going to be up at probably around 4 or 5 p.m. as well.
Something like that, yeah.
So keep an eye out on the channel. And what we'll be doing at the end of our podcast is we will be putting a hint to our next podcast.
Yep.
And the next video. So, what do we have on the next car, Channer?
Channel?
what's the next car to be uploaded, Connor?
It is a Toyota.
A green one.
Green Toyota.
Convertible
with a very rare
Go for it.
gearbox, we'll say.
It's a car that's only been made...
They've only, I think, was it 400 they made?
600.
600.
They only made 600 in the world ever. It's Japanese import. Right, early 2000s.
I checked it, and there's about only like 200 left on the UK roads. So
It's crazy.
really rare.
So, it's a green Toyota with a really, really rare engine. Not even the engine. Really, really rare gearbox. 600 were ever made. Super light car.
Great car. I love it.
And it's got a cool tan interior.
It does.
And it is for sale, so keep an eye out.
And on that note, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Good night! Yeah!